Emergency. Queen's Quest arrived. Emergency. Queen's Quest arrived. Emergency. Queen's Quest arrived.
Down to the queens.
Hello, ladies, gentlemen, and everybody inside and outside of the gender spectrum, and welcome back to Stardom Quest, the best weekly Stardom podcast anywhere in the world. I'm, as always, Alex, and I am joined by Dylan. Hi, Dylan.
Hi, Alex. Hi, everybody. The little ping thingy is stressing me out right now because like my Wi-Fi is kind of being up and down. So hopefully, see, and there it goes. Like it just, I said it.
Stop
I said
focusing
it.
on the pings. Just stop it.
No, but I said it and then it, like jumped, and I was like, this motherfucker, like it's toying with me right now. But yeah, we're here for Stardom Quest like we are every week. There's a lot to talk about. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, before any of that, I suppose I should plug the network. Head on over to 5starnetwork.co. This podcast is brought to you by the 5-Star Network. The 5-Star Network has lots of articles and podcasts and YouTube videos about the wonderful world of wrestling. So yeah, that's it. I suppose
I have a plug this week. Me and Xavi did a kind of a mix of our Best of Black Wrestling project, which has been written up to this point, and a mix of that with the No Limit Wrestling show. So we basically did a audio coverage of some of the best ACH matches in Japan, and just talked about how much we love ACH as a part of that project. That will be coming out within the next week. And yeah, I'm excited because that was a really good recording. It was fun to just kind of talk about somebody who both me and Xavi care about a lot and just are very big fans of, and also near the end just shit on all the companies that did him dirty. So that was a fun time, and you should check that out when it gets out. It should be on the YouTube, and I don't think it'll be anywhere else. So yeah, check out the 5-Star Network YouTube channel.
All right. Beyond that, I suppose we should get into our first bit of news. We have Julia Watch. So, and I guess technically Momokogo Watch. So Julia and Momokogo competed on Multiverse United 2 on Saturday night. Julia won a 4-way match for the New Japan Strong Women's Championship when she pinned Giselle Shaw with a Northern Lights bomb. Coming out of it, the main things from the match is that Julia was mad over with that crowd.
Yep.
And she translates really well to American wrestling, as we should have understood. She is her. And they seem to be doing something with Komomo and Julia. They seem to be maybe teasing a singles match there because Komomo got a lot of spotlight in the match. She got a segment with Julia after the match. Like they seem to be doing something there with Momokogo and that belt specifically. Although I don't know when that'll happen because we already know kind of Julia's next challenger, and there are reports on who her other challenger is going to be already. So
yeah, it appears as though she has 3 challengers already lined up in terms of the rumor mill, but on paper the only 2 that look like they're actually happening is Risa Sera and Momokogo. Momokogo hasn't been announced yet. So that's the whole thing. Did you watch that match?
Did
you watch
I
it?
did.
I'm guessing you did. Yeah, Momokogo. Everybody was kind of making like jokes that it's like Momokogo buffs. Like she gets a skill buff whenever she goes to America, and I kind of see it. I thought Giselle Shaw, like I've seen her have really great matches. I thought that she kind of underperformed. And then Deonna was Deonna. But yeah, obviously Julia was the star of the show, and Komomo was also cool. So that's your Impact coverage on Stardom Quest.
Yeah, it was a solid enough match. Nothing to really go crazy about, but it was nice to see Julia get the full bells and whistles. Utami could not get, but you know what? Yeah, Impact pulled off the miraculous effort of getting her entrance theme. That's crazy. But yeah, coming out of that,
didn't even know it was possible.
Coming out of that, we have Risa Sera challenging for the belt. So I like how Rossi got saddled with this belt that he didn't plan for and has pulled out the Rolodex of freelancers, and he's like, all right, who's taking the pin today? Because yeah, he's like, my roster is not taking L's for this. So what a king. So beyond that, then,
which is kind of funny because it's kind of funny because years ago, and I vividly remember this. Years ago on this podcast, we said the SWA belt should be changed during COVID, right? It should be changed from country wise to company wise and just have it against outsiders. And this was before Stardom was really doing outsiders very often. So we, even though this isn't the SWA belt, we saw the vision. That's all I'm saying. Because I remember us talking about this like years ago, that they should have a belt that's like, you know, mainstays against freelancers or, you know, outside the company. And that's kind of what the strong belt's becoming, which is kind of cool. It also makes sense because the strong belt in New Japan Strong, like the men's belt, is like that's all indie guys, right? Tom Lawler is signed, and he was the most decorated. Yeah, like that's kind of the point, and I kind of like that they're sticking with that, even though this is a belt that is staying in Japan for the most part in comparison to the male belt that's in America.
Beyond that, then, there's been another New Japan show announced, and Julia has been confirmed for it. And also confirmed for it is CMLL star Stephanie Vakir. Obviously, a lot of people got into Vakir after the...
We're putting 2 and 2.
Yeah, like I'm pretty sure Dave reported it, that the plan is to do Julia versus Vakir on that show. So that's going to be a good one. I mean, obviously, we saw Stephanie have a good match with Mercedes Money. Kind of when in the semi-final of the tournament to crown the first champion. So letting her have a title match with Julia is going to be great. That's in October, so that's when that show is. So, you know, obviously we know this by now. The end goal is Julia versus Mercedes Money. So, like, when is that going to happen? If Julia... I mean, I assume October, Julia and Stephanie is when Mercedes comes back and, like, challenges. Because that just makes the most sense. But then when do you do the match? I've seen Wrestle Kingdom floated. But I don't know if...
I think there are 3 options. Yeah. The first is Queendom, which is, you know, December if they want to do that for the Stardom show. I doubt they do, but I could see it. Second is Wrestle Kingdom, which is possible. But I don't know if they would have that belt defended on Wrestle Kingdom and not
the that's true.
Women's belt on Wrestle Kingdom, and I don't think they're going to have 2 women's matches. I'm just going to be honest. And then the third third option is they usually do a New Beginnings USA tour, which is usually like that's one of the only tours that they really do in the US that's like consistent that they've done most years. I don't know if they did it this year actually. I might be wrong. But they've done it for the past few years as a New Beginnings in the US, and I could see them running it there.
Yeah.
Just because that's one of the only named New Japan Strong shows that are still like active, I would assume, if they are still doing that. But those are my 3 options because, yeah, I think October is probably where you're going to see her at least make an appearance.
Yeah, for New Japan
at
anyway.
The show.
There could be others before it, but
yeah,
I would imagine October is when we get the first kind of signs of Julia versus Mercedes. And yeah, then it just becomes where they do.
What day is that October?
I have no idea. I just.
What did you say? It was October?
I didn't get a date, to be honest. It was October. Yeah. So you know, people will find out.
That might be very sad. Yeah, it's October 28th, which means I'm sorry to everybody. Julia's missing the Halloween show.
No, crazy, absurd. Yeah.
How dare she? It's funny that they're putting like special shows whenever Julia can.
Yeah, but does that mean they're gonna load it with Legends again to draw? Like they remember that was the excuse peddled.
Yo, why is Iger retiring?
Oh my god, yeah.
She could have been the main event of that fucking show.
Oh my god. But anyway, that is the New Japan Strong Belt. We love to see it. Julia kind of beating people up. Beyond that, we've had a couple of match announcements. So the first announcement is there was the full card lined out for the Starverse Presents 5-star special in Hiroshima pay-per-view. This is on September 3rd. We knew a lot of the matches already, but they've added Julia versus Risa Sera for the Strong Women's Championship. And I think they confirmed the undercard. I don't know if this was already clear, but they have Ami Sourei versus Yuna Mizumori on that show. And
yeah, no, that wasn't.
And then it's Megan Bayne is teaming with Maika and Tekla against Hanako, Mariah May, and Mina Shirakawa. So, an interesting one. That's a crazy show, by the way. I don't know if anybody's...
Club Venus with the bounce.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody's like looked at this card, but it is ridiculous. Because you have Anna...
Stardom kind of Stardom's kind of hot right now.
It is. It
It's
is.
kind of like these shows.
Like in
are
this
kinda
one
fire.
show, you have Mayu and Suri, Utami and Momo, Kid and Tam, Ano and Poi versus Suzu Suzuki and Mei Sarah, Julia versus Risa Sarah, and Mirai versus Konami. Absurd.
Yeah, and also Risa Sarah Julia is like, obviously we were disappointed with the U match, but Risa Sarah is such a perfect wrestler to wrestle Julia. Like they just like have such a clear like route they can go with that match that I'm really excited for that match. Actually,
Yeah.
it'll be really really fun because they haven't run it in Stardom.
Oh yeah, that's true. Actually, yeah, that's crazy.
I don't think, at least not in the 5.
The other kind of announcements then is that on September 29th, Fiberplex presents New Blood 11. We've had the first 3 matches announced. For the New Blood Tag Championships, we have a 3-way match. It's Karma and Starlight Kid versus Hanan and Saya Ida. This is Azumi and Miyu Masaki. We also have Yuna Mizumori's Kozen promotion assessment match, Tam Nakano versus Yuna Mizumori, and a passion injection match when Nanae Takahashi takes on Mei Sarah. And that's all of the announcements for now. I'm
so excited for that.
Of course, I could have guessed. Don't worry. Onto some less fun stuff. There was a report by Sean Ross Sapp a day or 2 ago saying that our beloved Mariah May has a contract offer on the table from All Elite Wrestling. So it's quite likely that we will be losing Mariah to AEW. I was told this last week before we recorded. So you were talking about her being like a favorite for the Goddess Tag League, and I had to bite my tongue so bad.
Yeah.
I had to do a whole show without revealing that she was going to leave, and it was the hardest thing I've ever done.
Likely.
She's leaving.
Likely going to.
Yeah, there's more to the report that Sean didn't mention. I'm not a scoopster. I'm not breaking it. I'm sure it'll come out eventually, but there is more to it that will make people go, okay, I understand now. So, fair play to Mariah. We always knew this was going to happen, that, somebody with eyes would look at her and her talent and just go, yeah, throw the money at her.
Yeah, I mean, apparently even WWE, like the second that she debuted in Stardom, was like, yep, we want her. They just didn't.
Well, they were never going to get her, considering.
Give her an offer. Yeah. Yeah. But no, I don't know. It's a shame, and like I made a tweet.
You really walked into that. You walked into that.
Yeah, it was fun. I enjoyed. I thought it was fun.
It was.
But yeah, a lot of people were like, well, she's not officially signed. Thank you. And I was like, okay, but let's call a spade here. And a lot of people started getting mad at me for saying that she was the best foreigner and saying, so you hate Tekla? No, I love Tekla a lot.
I should have sent them a link to the show.
Besides the point,
listen, dumbass.
Yeah, I should have. I don't know why I never. You're smart with that. With like the this is blowing up. It has more than 100 likes. Yeah. Here's Stardom Quest. Like you're good with that one. I'm not. But no, I don't know. It's a shame, and it's interesting because it's like Mariah, and I think people get very like weird, like confused about this. That's like, as a wrestling fan, we are allowed to be both like empathetic and caring human beings and also wrestling fans. So it's like I can be like, oh, that's dope. Like I hope Mariah gets a lot of money because she's great, and I hope that she gets pushed to the moon. She's the star of AEW, whatever. I can be happy and be like, you know what, good for her, while also being like, God damn it, why is she leaving? Like that. Those are two things that I can feel.
It's the sports fan thing. It's like 1,000,000%. Like no football fan is ever like, oh, this big team wants our best player. I'm so happy for him. Like that doesn't happen. That never happens. In other countries, football teams will run a player out of the club for that. Like wrestling fans are so strange.
Oh, I remember Dimitri Payet, was that his name? For West Ham? He was like, hey, I want to go to Spain or something. And legit, his last like 3 games in West Ham, they just berated him the entire game. And it's like, damn, like I get it, but like, damn, that's crazy. Like, yeah, that's just kind of how sports are. I don't know. And yeah, it's weird because in wrestling you're sort of supposed to like be like sensible for some reason because it's pro wrestling. Why should you, as a fan, have to be sensible about things? That makes no sense. But you know, I mean, as somebody who does think Mariah is very deserving of, you know, a lots and lots of money, I'm also sad because it's like I think, and I mentioned this. That's like I think she is growing so exponentially in Japan. I think she's like getting so great at what they do over there that there will be, as somebody who enjoys AEW, there will be a fall off to some degree. Like there will be a plateau because I don't think you can train as well in AEW's training system as a woman as you can in Japan because AEW's women's system is not a system. It doesn't exist. But you know, like that's just all a bunch of theoreticals. That's like, oh, that's a shame. That's like, you know, ultimately I'm biased because we talk about Stardom every week, and I like Stardom and I like Joshi wrestling. So of course I'm gonna miss, like I said, our best import right now. But you know,
Yeah,
her,
you know, it was obvious. It was always going to happen. We brought it up when she was in that GP qualifier. We brought it up. We were like, you are not getting her in next year. Like she is not lasting to the next GP. Yeah. Put her in. So like I'd made peace with it a long time ago. But yeah, it's just a bitter pill to swallow now that it's actually happening. But yeah, I mean, she was always going to get signed. Like she is just the most obvious top prospect I've ever seen. Well, that's a lie. I've watched a lot of wrestling, but you know what I mean. In modern times, she's like one of the most obvious top prospects there is.
I mean, she's like a prototype of a women's wrestler in America, but she's like good at all of it. You know, like she's just like
that's the Mariah May thing. Basically, get ready for her to leave. I would assume she's going to take the AEW offer. I don't know when that's going to be. There was no kind of report on the date. I would imagine it's after the GP, not long after the GP. But yeah, we will have to wait and see on that. And that's kind of all the news from Stardom. Just kind of those announcements and stuff like that. There's obviously there's always like weird announcements, but they never really apply to us.
Oh wait! Miyu Amasaki found out, or not found out?
It's not really news.
It is the most important piece of news today.
Okay. But you can either do this or you can do the Korakuen. So take your pick here.
Oh man, we gotta do the Korakuen. What are you talking?
We can't we have 3 shows.
Man.
Also, I think there's stuff happening this week. I would imagine. I don't really know. I haven't looked at the schedule.
Me neither.
What is this weekend? Oh yeah, there's like 2 shows. Okay, yeah, we're fine. Okay.
Isn't there a pay-per-view? Is one of these a special?
No.
The special is the week after.
Yeah, the week after. But yeah, Miyu Amasaki knows about the Kevin. I'm not surprised. Like Saya and Utami knew about Zoom Zoom. Like these wrestlers see everything. No matter what, these wrestlers see this stuff. That is part of their.
Miyu also relatively knows English. Like she isn't fluent or anything, but she like isn't. She can understand certain parts of English.
I would also imagine somebody explained it to her in great detail because they 1000% have a burner. So I would imagine it was explained to her
and it was
with glee.
It was, of course, Mercedes Moné.
Yes, Miss Wig herself. But yeah, that was a thing. And you know what? Fair play. I think a lot of people were like, she took it on the chin. I really like her because people were like, "Hey, that's cool." And the best way to endear yourself with international fans is to roll with the memes. So fair play, Kevin.
Yeah. And I mean, yeah, they like her and Azumi just kind of laughed it off, and it was like, "Why do they do that?" And it's like, I don't fucking know. Maybe the other Miyu, and she was right. That's the exact reason.
Yeah. See, that's why I think somebody explained it to her.
It was great
because there's no way you would just guess that. That has to have been.
She just like mentioned Miyu for some reason, which out of context would make no sense.
So
Yamashita. She mentioned Yamashita for no reason. For people who don't.
There are other Miyus like floating around as well. And Gotta Move has a Miyu, doesn't they? Miyu Kitsune? Miyu something? Kotsuba? Kotsube?
Yeah. Is that Miyu or is that it's not Mayu? It's probably Miyu.
There's also a Miyu, I think, in like some tiny promotion who pops up on like random shows when they're in Osaka. When some companies are in Osaka, so I think there is a few Miyus. She was right.
Miyu is just it's a very
Yeah.
common name just in Japan in general, just like Kevin is in America.
But yeah, that is the Kevin. We didn't start that, by the way. There is a Reddit thread, and we were in one of the comments like blamed. Somebody was angry at us for calling her Kevin.
Some people still get angry about it. I was
Yeah,
like, damn,
like they were
that's
mad because
okay.
she missed shows, and I think you did the Kevin from the Home Alone movie bit, and somebody thought that was us starting it, and they were really upset. They were like, "Oh, that's mean. She didn't miss some shows. She was injured." And I was like, "It's not. We didn't start it. We were just playing into it. Please leave us alone. We're not that clever. Like we don't do that."
Yeah,
So yeah, that is
it's never
no.
us. It's never
That
us.
is not that is Kevin.
So somebody was like, "Damn, that's cruel that you made that video of all the Joshi wrestlers crying." I was like, "I stole that like a year ago. I don't know who made that."
Yeah, I don't know, man. People are weird. But anyway, we have a couple of shows to review. The first one, and we're gonna do quick thoughts on this because it is over a week old. So please, quick thoughts. I will time you if I have to. Park and Hall show from the 15th.
I have
From
notes,
the
don't worry.
15th of August. We didn't get to discuss this last week because it wasn't up, and I was also sick anyway, so it wouldn't have been that good. The first GP match on that show was Momo Watanabe beating Saori Ano in 9.5 minutes with a Peach Sunrise. Dylan, this was very good. Do you agree?
It was very good, and I'm gonna limit myself to one bit and one
Yeah.
comment. Is that cool? Ano locked in the figure eight, shouts out Andrade's wife. And also, yeah, Momo just killed her. Like the ref bump was great. It was just really fun. Overall, really fun. And after the match, Momo being like, "Oh, you can't win now. You don't have to try so hard anymore, honey. Die," and then just left. I was like, "Oh, that's dope." Which Anu is effectively
Yeah.
out of the tournament because she has a ceiling of 10 points, and that's just not
No.
That's not how a
Not at
10-person
all.
block works.
Okay.
So yeah.
Momo Watanabe is back. That is all I have to say.
A little bit.
The
Yeah.
next match was Mariah May beating Mina Shirakawa in 11.5 minutes with a happily ever after. I called this last week. I could see what they were going for, and they were intending to go for a pretty like big match that you get into, but it was definitely one that probably needed more time than 12 minutes to fully tell what they wanted to tell. So I think it was pretty good, but there was a lot of room to improve if they like had more time to tell their story.
Yeah, I felt like because it didn't have the ability to be like this bigger than it was, like to be any bigger than it was, it kind of felt like Mina was just like leaning on her tropes instead of like it being like a huge like deal. And yeah, I definitely get where they were going with it, and I thought it was a good match. Don't get me wrong, it was a very solid match, but there was definitely sort of like an extra layer missing, I would say,
Mm-hmm.
to make this like a great match, like a lot of the
Yeah.
matches on the show. Yeah, at one point Waka, like they just zoomed in on Waka for like a good.
That was so
seconds.
weird.
And I was
She
like,
was
that's
just
so funny.
stuck on her. Mina was over here doing limb work, and it was just showing Waka, and I was like, all right,
Like
that's
with a
cool.
concerned face, and like I
Yes.
was like, what are we doing here, bro? This
She
is
was
crazy.
emoting.
They did that even better at the Legend show, and I'm so excited to talk about that.
Of course. The next match then was Siri beating Hazuki in 11.5 minutes with a White Tiger. This was such big dick energy. I loved it. This reminded me of some of those like never matches that Shibata would have, where it was like we're just gonna do dumb shit. Like we're dumb, brainless humans, and we're gonna do dumb shit. And that was what this was. It was so fun.
Yeah, these top three matches were like absurdly good.
Yes.
And I was just like, holy shit, like these are just insane. And yeah, I loved this. I thought it was really fun. I think Hazuki, and I'm not gonna get too much into it, I know, but I think Hazuki is just such like a consistent worker, and like just her energy and her confidence and how she conducts herself is just so great. And I think that I don't know, she just gets it. And believe it or not, Stars, very popular group. She was getting chanted so heavily in this match, and I was just like, "It's my girl right there. Let's go. This is awesome." And then she lost, which sucked. Now it happens. And she also hit a six code breaker, which I don't think she's ever hit before. But like, do that all the time. It was beautiful. Yeah, those are my comments. Great match. Great match.
All right. The next match was Tam Nakano and Mayu Iwatani going to a 15-minute time limit draw. I was once again reminded that Mayu is one of the best in the world at all the little stuff. She was so good at the little stuff here. And also, her and Tam, if they eventually pay it off in the match that they deserve, is like that is like the peak of what Stardom could do right now. I think that could be a match of the year if they really got to go and do what they can do and give Tam that big win over Mayu. Because yeah, this was a nice tease of like something special.
Yeah, I thought this match was like the best Tam match I've seen all year, and I'm saying that by saying like this is one of my favorite matches of the tournament.
Yeah.
So it's not me being like, oh, Tam has shitty match. Like, no, this is like genuinely like this is a great match. I just loved it. I tweeted after this. I'm just like, I think I'm finally like fully understanding of like the Mayu is the greatest wrestler to ever live talk.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I don't think she's my number one, but like I get it because like I've always thought she was great, but just something recently, I'm just like she doesn't miss, and if she does, it's never her fault. It feels like.
Yeah.
Like, except for that one Shuri match.
Oh yeah.
That wasn't great.
That was weird.
But like, that was one in like what 60 singles matches of the past 3 years. Like, she just hasn't. Like, okay, and the Sakakashima match. It doesn't matter. I'm just rattling on for no reason. She's just great. This match was great.
Yeah.
One of my favorites of the tournament. It was just so. It was. Oh
Dude,
my god, chef's kiss.
Tam had herself a week. She went. I've seen the criticisms. Fuck you all. And
Yeah.
fair play. The main event.
Weeks for Tam Nakano.
Indeed, the main event then was Azumi beating Utami Hayashishita in 10 minutes with the Azumi Zushi. Another great match. My eyes were opened here to how special Azumi is, and I also think Utami won't ever get the credit she deserves for this performance, where she was just a perfect base for everything Azumi was doing, and I think she played her role to perfection in this match. But Azumi was the real star of the show.
I think that like Utami does not get enough credit for her matches with Azumi, because Utami is very understanding that like, and this is a very like respectful thing of her and like a very friendly thing of her. She always makes Azumi look like the greatest wrestler to ever live when she wrestles her every time. Like that's what these matches are, is the Azumi to Utami matches. Even if Utami wins, which she's won one of them. I was mistaken last week. She actually won one, and Utami's now won, or Azumi's now won two. Every time Utami's just like, no, this is your match, and you're gonna make yourself look like the greatest wrestler ever, and I'm going to help you, and we're going to have a good match. And that is such a skill that she's just like, no, like I don't need to get offense in if you're gonna do all the cool shit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care. Let's go. And that was the story of this match. I thought this was so great from the start with the Destroyer. Like that was like I was like hyped, and it was just so good. I don't know. I love this. Blink and you miss it type of stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of fun stuff overall. Azumi hit the professional foot stomp. Shouts out Keno, even though that's also her move, but to the outside, she doesn't usually. It doesn't matter. Yeah, this is like a perfect Azumi match. It was just like everything you want from her type of style, and it was done so well.
Indeed. With that, we are on to this week's shows. We have the first review, which was August 18th, New Blood 10. It's at 361 fans in the Grand Hall. The opener was Hanako Konoha? I always forget, because it doesn't translate. It calls her Enka.
I know.
Anyway.
I know.
Hanoka.
Literally, people who haven't ever watched her wrestle do not know what her name is. Because it's like, it's so, like, because every translation is different. Also, one more thing about the Korakuen show. A Zeto M Azumi, crazy finish. Love that. Shouts out to her. Go on.
Right. So Hanako, Kazuna Tanaka, and Hanoka beat Moran, Nanami, and Ami Sourei in 7.5 minutes when Hanako locked in the Argentine backbreaker on Moran. I thought the Wave rookies were quite good. Kazuna Tanaka has all of the potential in the world. One of those like obvious top prospects that Joshi gets every couple of years. I really liked her. I don't think we sold just how great Moran is last time she was in Stardom. This girl is absurd. She's like 14.
We did, because I remember when she debuted in Stardom, she was 12, and we were like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
What is this? And now she's 14 and she gets it
Mhm.
even more. And it's like that's kind of a rare thing for because like I obviously I've watched Stardom for a while, so it's like I've seen the twins and even Azumi and Starlight Kid wrestle when they're like 13, 14, 15, and usually they don't really like get it until they're like 15 years old, like just in ring. Like they might have like a certain like style to them that works or whatever, but usually I don't like start really getting it inside the ring until around 15. And Moran like just turned 14 and she has it. Like for her age level, it's insane. Truly.
Yeah,
Um,
she
she's
like
absurd.
I kind of thought of this yesterday. She's like a Yuhi level prospect. They're very different type of
Mhm.
wrestlers, but she's a
Yes.
Yuhi level. Like this woman, like this girl could take over if she wanted to. Like that is the talent we're dealing with here. Yeah, this was a pretty solid match that really kind of got to showcase all of the rookies from the other promotions. And kind of Ami kind of led it, and it was pretty solid. Um,
Yeah. I have a few things I want to say about this briefly. There some of these matches I don't have a lot to say about.
all right.
Um, two things. One is it's about the people that we just talked about anyway. Kazuna started this match with the most Joshi opening of all
Yes.
time. Where she was just throwing drop kicks and then she did the Riho evasion out of a pin. And I was like, this girl she is Joshi wrestling right here. And then yeah, Moran, like legit when she like was announced and she like went to the center and she posed and whatever, like I was just like, oh, she
Yeah.
gets it. Like she isn't awkward at all. Like she's just like fully like comfortable in the ring, and then she wrestles and it's like, oh yeah, she's insane. So yeah, shout out to her. She's phenomenal. She's gonna be great in a few years.
Indeed. The match after that then was Kohaku beating Lady C in 8 minutes with a European clutch. This is a pretty standard tall versus small match, but because Kohaku is so Galaxy brained, it was really good. And also, Lady C is really good now. Okay, really good is probably a stretch, but she is good now.
She's
Putting
quite
some
good.
stank on them boots. I was loving it. But obviously,
She's wearing the glasses later
yeah.
on. She's wearing the glasses. Everybody loves the glasses later on.
But yeah, I thought Kohaku like really made the match because she's just so clever and so speedy and inventive. So
Someone say clever like a fox.
yes,
Which was her original like kind of thing. It's funny because Kohaku's not a heel whatsoever in Wave.
no, she's
like
always
it's a
had
bit
the
intense
energy.
sometimes.
I will say that.
Yeah, but like in Stardom, she is so
Annoying.
good at being a
Yeah.
dick, and it's incredible because like you never really see that outside of like her matches against Suzu, which are always because Suzu like raises it to that level, and it's like, oh, I'll be a fucking asshole back, and that's kind of what Kohaku would do. But she's always the underdog. But in this one, she was wrestling this tall ass motherfucker, and she's so short, but somehow she still is like the one getting the heat and the one like really like like, oh yeah, Lacey killed her with a boot, and it's like, yeah, it's fire. Kohaku's special. I obviously we talked about the opening match, but like Kohaku is just one of the greatest young talents in the wrestling world right now. She's so good, and this match is really really fun. They muted her theme music, so
yeah,
fuck
very
them.
very
I
upsetting.
hated that. That made me very upset.
Yeah,
She has a great song. Like it's very like with the Ugacha. Like I don't know, the
she's
intro's
had
so
like
cool.
two
I
great
love it.
themes. Her marvelous one was good as well, which
Yeah.
is sad because we'll never hear it
Yeah.
again. But yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, this is great. Kohaku over with the Euro clutch is pretty dope. And then hers like being like, yeah, fuck all y'all. I won. Perfect.
No, Kohaku is really good. She's just a natural. And after that, then we had a former classmate of Kohaku. We had Mei Sarah and Suzu Suzuki beating Hina and Hanan in 7.5 minutes when Mei Sarah pinned Hina with a power bomb. The setup was kind of reminiscent of a Taio power bomb, but she didn't really hit it like a Taio bomb. So
she did like this hammerlock run around, and
yeah.
then she did a
And
liger bomb.
the hammerlock run around is the Taio setup, but she keeps the leg, whereas she kind of let go of the leg and then just hit a normal power bomb. But it was a nice power bomb.
Which I prefer the Taio style
course,
because it's like, yeah, you
it's
definitely
Taio.
should keep. That's true, but you definitely should keep the setup. Because that's something that annoys me with WWE wrestlers a lot is that they'll like do this huge wrist clutch setup and then they just let go of the wrist and then it's just like a normal move. I'm just like, why would just like keep the wrist? Just keep the whatever. Yeah, go on.
I thought and I've kind of seen this a bit lately. I think Hina has really grown lately. She's like learned how to project herself a lot better. She was always like, her offense was always good, but everything else was lagging behind. But recently, I feel like she's really been able to project herself a lot better, and you can kind of sense the charisma a lot more than you used to be able to. But yeah, she is. So I just kind of was impressed by her. But yeah, this was a pretty solid match. I feel like Hanan is kind of just spinning wheels mode when she's on New Blood a little bit. So she didn't.
Yeah,
do
but I
a
thought her
ton.
and Caesar did some good
But yeah,
stuff
like
anyway.
it wasn't like crazy or anything. And then like May and Hina kind of carried the majority of it, and it was fun.
I really like Suzu and Hanan stuff, and then yeah, Hina and May were great. The thing about Hina is that like when you're put into that role of like Queen's Quest, you aren't if you don't have that like natural charisma, you're going to struggle because you don't have like anything to lean on really. You can't really be a babyface, like really, because you're in Queen's Quest, you're just kind of like it's the stoic group. So it really is just a matter of like over time, you'll kind of like start to see
Yeah.
it more. And I think she definitely has been showing it a lot more recently. And I also think, and we mentioned this, we talked to each other about this yesterday, that it's kind of hard when your older sister is like the future ace and your twin sister is like one of the best teenage wrestlers in the world, best under 18 wrestlers in the world at least, and you are good.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
that's hard. That is a hard spot to be in. But she is good. Like I think people give her a lot of flack because she isn't as good as her two generational talents of sisters. But it's like no, she's a very good worker, and she will likely grow and be even better than she is now because she's only 16 years old. So yeah, shout out to Hina. She's kind of putting it together more than she used to be.
Yeah, no, she's not the only one, and we'll obviously get to her later. Her colleague that has really grown, but yeah, it's kind of nice to see that
Her colleague.
her faction mate, I guess. But yeah, like a lot of the roster is getting better at not just the wrestling, but also presenting themselves as stars. And there's somebody specifically who will get a lot of praise for that later. Next match after that then was Natsupoi beating Yuna Mizumori in a Cosmic Angels promotion assessment match. Natsupoi won in 9.5 minutes with a fairy strain. And yeah, I mean, Natsupoi working on top is an interesting sight, but she's obviously very good at it. So she was. And I mean,
She was that old school Mayumi
yeah.
Ozaki type thing. Like good Mayumi Ozaki.
Like I enjoyed this. I think the Tam Yuna match will be better. Because I think Tam is just like so much better at this role.
But also that might be the Tam match,
so.
which was not better.
I don't think so.
I hope not. But yeah, I thought it was like solid overall. Yuna did her little dancey dance on the way to the ring. She did it really intensely because she knew it was an important match. So I was just like, you could just not do it. Like if you're gonna look like very like pained and like, but did you see her face? Like she was brooding while she was doing these like. I was like, you don't have to be.
Angels dances. You gotta dance.
You don't.
Do they still dance? Have I like missed it?
Yeah,
They do still dance, right? Meltier
kind
dance
of.
anyway.
Sometimes
a
bit. Meltier dances, and then Anu kind of like it's like a stoic dance, like they did it on the Legend show, where they kind of like have this choreography, but they don't dance. Sometimes they dance. It's old. Yeah, this match was probably my least favorite on the show, but even that, it's like it was still a good match.
Worse.
So I can't really.
I can't lie. I feel the main event.
I mean, I get that.
Great.
I liked the main event for what it was. This match, I think I might have expected more and got disappointed compared to the main event where I wasn't expecting much because I'm not a big Waka singles match guy personally. So it's like I didn't expect much from that, and it was like good. It was we'll talk about that later. But I might have expected too much out of this one, and it kind of fell flat for me. But it was solid. One thing I did note was that Kamamo Minami was seconding for this match, so she is physically fit to be at ringside. That is a good thing because she didn't just fall off the face of the earth and never return. And also there was a blonde trainee that we haven't met yet, we haven't seen yet, but she was also seconding. So I mean, she will likely be introduced in the next couple months if she's already.
Yeah, once you see the ringside, it's only a matter of time until they show up.
Yeah, Exactly. Like I think Miyu was like, she started doing ring attendance in like December, and then by February she was
Mhm.
debuted or something like that. Um, so within the next few months we'll probably see her debut, and she has a cool look, and that was pretty much it. After the match, uh, Yuna's bid to join Kozen was
in
rejected,
the best way.
and she was told yes, but she was like, "Oh," and then that's was like, "Yeah, you didn't lose that weight, did you?" And then I was like, "Bro, we're not still doing this." It's like, okay, maybe if you lose even more weight and beat the world champion, maybe. I was like, that's crazy.
I feel
Kozen
like
is
it
abusive.
was such a comedic thing overall, though, with Natsupoi being like, I've loved teaming with you. You've seconded me the whole time. We're such good friends. And her and Tam were like, yeah. I think, yeah. Like they were nodding along as if they were gonna let her in. Like Tam even smiled at one point. Is like, yeah, okay, I'll let her in. And Natsupoi's just like, nah, you didn't get in. And everybody, even the arena, chuckled.
The
Yeah,
crowd
no,
was
they
like, eh?
laughed. They laughed because it was just so comedic. And then yeah, she was like, yeah, you didn't lose that weight, did you? And she was like, well, I'm like 60.8 kg. It's close. So yeah, I don't know. I still think there's a lot of overacting that keeps it from being bad. Like I think the overacting kind of makes it funny, which is what they're going for more than like. I feel like the Waka one was a lot more mean. Like the Waka was like, you will win, or we're gonna
Yeah.
kick you out of the place you call home. Whereas this, it's a bit more.
It's funny that Cosmic Angels is like the cutthroat. I guess that's idols. I guess
Yeah,
that
I
makes
feel like
sense actually,
everything they
because it's like
do
that's
seems to
like
be a satire
that's the
of
point.
the idol world. Like it seems
Yeah.
clear to me that that's what the Una thing is. Even the weight loss thing, that's clearly an idol thing. I don't know. So
Yeah.
that's how I view that. But yeah, I thought it was a funny promo from Natsupoi. Um,
And then the group's just falling apart, and then like having a new member. Yeah, that actually this is all very
yeah,
idol-esque. Everything to do with them is like very. I could see that. That's actually I never like I thought of that, but I never really like took a second to really like think of it like analyze that part of it. That's actually really interesting. That's
yeah.
interesting. Cosmic Angels just added a layer to me that I kind of understand more. That I was like, oh
Wow.
yeah, that's kind of cool.
We
It's rare that you'll hear me say that's kind of cool about anything to do with
That was
Cosmic
fair.
Angels, by the way. So that's something.
All right.
6 stars going crazy right now.
All right. The next match was the Supernova fifth match, extra match. Saori Ano beat Miyu Amasaki in 11.5 minutes. I mean, listen, this was a career performance from Miyu Amasaki. Saori Ano dragged it out of her the way we kind of expected her to. And I mean, I saw so much from Amasaki here that I didn't think she had. Like, there was just so much intensity to her work when she like the hair was
Bro,
down
she just started
and she
jumping.
started fighting. I was like, this is what you need to see. This is the babyface energy she has. And it was really good seeing for her scrap for her life against Ano. And Ano is perfect working on top. Those years working with Ozaki Gun have come into play really well because she is the best at just completely picking somebody apart like this.
This was Big Dick Miyu Amasaki
Yes.
right here. Yeah, I mean, obviously Anu's so great, and she was great at just cutting off Miyu's offense at every turn and doing it in like an interesting way, which is always great in these matches, like these showcase matches for younger wrestlers. And yeah, I thought at a certain point, I literally wrote that I was like, Miyu's just jumping her. Like she's just not stopping, and she's just attacking her. She was just like stomping at her in the corner and just kept forearming her. I was like, God damn, that's crazy. Like she's just like she's going at it. And yeah, it was just a really good match. Miyu threw some great stuff. This was on par, around the level, probably a bit better, maybe, of the Shuri match, which I think is Miyu's magnum opus at this point. Those two matches are kind of like around the same level because they were both really, really good. And yeah, good job from Miyu. Kansai spirit is within her. It always has been because she's from there. But yeah, really cool match. Saori won with the what is it? The Temps Tentre? How do you pronounce that?
I assume it's French.
It's a cool move.
Tomps, is it Tantra?
Well, you're European.
I feel it would be Tom's
French
Tantra, but maybe it's not French. Who knows?
That makes sense.
But yeah, this is a great performance.
It was like a headhunted.
Yeah. This was great from both of them, and honestly, I think we're gonna have to start talking about Soriano's case for being the best wrestler of this year. She's just and now that Sendai Girls is uploading again, we're getting some of her best work. So like,
oh yeah, that's gonna be.
We're
tough
seeing
to
her
beat.
in the midst of the GP as a tag champion in Stardom, whilst getting her backlog of Sendai Girls matches. We are eating, we are living. So yeah, Anu is having a great year, and credit to Miyu Amasaki. She's been steadily improving. Like I don't know.
Oh shit!
What's up?
I was looking to see where I have her on my rest of the year. I don't even have her on it on accident. Let me see.
Crazy. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, she's top 50 and she only has like 12 matches I've seen.
See?
So that's kind of insane.
I'm on the ball here. Saori Anu for Wrestler of the Year. But yeah, it's Miyu Amasaki, very good performance from her. She's been putting it together over the last while. I kind of said it in passing a few weeks ago that like she had gotten really good at emanating this babyface energy. And like here, she was just so much more comfortable than she used to be. She's lost that deer in the headlights vibe, and now it's a lot more I belong here. And good to see her kind of improve like that.
Totally.
The next match then, and I don't know if we want to save the Ida stuff for the next show, because her and Maika was also very important. So we can like dive into Saya Ida.
Yeah, we could talk about
in a few
bit
minutes.
More there. Yeah.
So this was the Passion Injection match. Nanae Takahashi beats Saya Ida in 14 minutes with a Nanaraka. And yeah, this was a very, very good Passion Injection match. Like Nanae works wonders for some of these wrestlers in these Passion Injection matches, and Ida made the full use of it. So I mean,
I think I have one criticism of this match, and it is Ida should have been stiffer.
Yeah.
This is the one match that you can be. This is the one match where you could kind of just hurt someone because she ain't gonna feel it.
Yeah.
And I don't think she fully just like went full tilt in terms of just like beating the fuck out of Nanae, which I think she could have. That's the only thing that I think.
She also messed up the
like,
muscle buster, which kind of hurt because that was meant to be the big spot. That was meant to be the spot, and they kind of didn't do it.
I mean, when you're wrestling notorious sandbagger Nanae Takahashi, that's a hard move to physically just keep someone up for. Is she a notorious
sandbagger?
That doesn't want to be up.
Is that a thing?
Yeah, 100%. What are you talking about?
Oh, I didn't notice. Maybe I have said that and I just forgot. But I'm very all in on Nanae.
That was like the story of the really bad tag match.
Oh shit! Yeah, but nobody was selling in that. Like, everybody was doing that.
Oh, I know. I know. Because you was also like she was sandbagging a lot in that match. That's why I was like, Nanae isn't even the worst defender here, but she is notorious for
fair enough.
Not necessarily staying up when people want her to stay up. Much like Ruaka.
Yes.
Her and Ruaka. Another combination.
I don't know about Ruaka's. I think she just couldn't for a while there. But this was like a very, very good version of the Passion Injection match. We've seen a lot of these by now, and they're always useful. But like Saya Ida got the most out of it with like the crowd vocally behind her. We'll dive into Saya Ida on the next show, but the promo after this I think was fantastic. Like I got very Mina vibes from Ida's promo. Like it was like, how do you not see this and run with her? You know, like that. Everything she said was just so easy to root for. Like she was like I lose and I know I disappoint my fans and I hate it. Like I try to ignore it, but I can't anymore. And I'm gonna fight with all of you, and I'm gonna win, and I'm gonna beat Nanae. I'm gonna win a belt, and I'm gonna do it. And it's like, how do you not push this woman now? You know. So I thought Ida's promo was fantastic, and I thought Nanae set it up perfectly with her line of like, life ends when you give up, and Ida was like, I'm never giving up. Like pro wrestling, I'm never giving up on pro wrestling.
It was such a cute moment. It was such a cute moment because like Nanae said that. And then like Ida started to cry, and like Nanae gave her the mic, and she was crying, and she was trying to trying to say something, and Nanae's like, "Stop crying." She's like, "I'm not crying. I'm sweating. I worked up a sweat today. Okay, I worked up a sweat." And I was like, "Oh, I love you so much." And it's like, yeah, I don't know. I've always we'll talk about
Yeah, there's a lot for
it a bit more when we get to the mic and stuff. But yeah, this was a great segment though. And then after that, the Mei Seira stuff was also great.
Oh yeah, Mei Seira challenged for her passion injection.
There was like a really Mei Seira has this insane charm. You watched that part of it?
Oh yeah.
Or did you?
I watched it.
Oh, okay. Sorry, my thing went out. Sorry. But yeah, Mei Seira was just like, "Hey, I wanna wrestle you next," and then I was like, "We tagged like 2 days ago, and you are," and she's like, "I'm not, no," and she's like, "Yeah, you're a scaredy cat."
Yeah, I don't know if Dylan's just not talking or if his internet is going.
No, right. Yeah, my right as I started talking about the thing I wanted to talk about, my internet was just like, "Nah, we're gonna take it away from you for 5 seconds." Basically, she was calling her a scaredy cat, and she's like, "Yeah, I bet you're even scared of me," and she's like, "I'm not scared of you." And then I was like, "Oh, do you want right now?" And she's like, "No, we're good." And I thought that was very funny. My internet is going out because it doesn't like Mei Seira.
Oh,
so that's
crazy.
That's my statement on that. It was a very funny post match. I think this entire post match, everybody should check out. I think this entire match, this entire section, people should go out of their way to check out. But the post match, both the Sai's part and the Mei Seira part. Sai's part was really emotional and very great, and Mei Seira's was very funny. So yeah, I would check that out.
Yeah, no, the Iida part especially is so important to fully getting into Iida, so I would definitely recommend that. And then we had our main event, which was Rina defending the Future of Stardom Championship against Waka Tsukiyama. Rina retained in 14.5 minutes with the Hydrangea. I mean, I thought this was a solid match. Rina is a child and Waka is a pin eater who has like 3 years of experience, most of which is in tag matches.
Waka's offense is so underwhelming. I think that's like the one.
She's great at picking spots because she's so used to tag matches. When you try and put that into a singles context, you do kind of expose that she doesn't have much of a bag of tricks. But I think the same goes for Rina. Like, she is also still adapting to wrestling these longer matches.
I don't know. I think with Rina, she has the go-to that she can just work the arm because that's part of her finish. And that's why I think like early on this match worked, and then it like just went longer and longer and longer, and it had to like give Waka a decent amount of shine, and you kind of lost the rhythm of Rina working the arm. Waka's not selling the arm anymore, and then you get back to Rina winning with the Hydrangea. So it's like, I think 1, if this was shorter, or 2, if Waka had better offense. I think Rina did the parts that she needed to do well. But I think that there was just like this point where they just kind of got lost with not much to do, and they still had time to go. But with that being said, I still thought it was a good match.
Yeah, overall. I mean, it wasn't terrible. Like, I'm accounting for the fact that they both haven't had many singles matches, so it's obviously going to be hard to go 15. So yeah, credit them.
Waka threw up the X like CM Punk before she went for her finish.
She knows ball. Yeah, that was kind of that. Yeah. I think after the match, you caught this on Twitter. So Rina posted a picture of her with the belt, I think, like having successfully retained it.
Yeah.
And so in the alt text of the image, so you can't, like, this wasn't the tweet, this is in the alt text of the image. She said, "I decided to watch the 2019 draft on Stardom World for the first time in a long time yesterday. Partly because I teamed with the 3 sisters at Ota Ward. Even now, when I look back at the age of 12, sitting and waiting for my name being called was painful, but in the end, Hana-san called my name and she said a diamond can only be polished with a diamond. At that time, I had just entered junior high school and I was just doing my best to compete, but now I'm a little more grown up. I'm a champion. And little by little, I'm what Hana-san calls a diamond. Rina is able to do both matches and promos with such confidence because I've been watching Hana-san. There's still room for improvement and I'm going to get stronger. I'll make the future even more exciting. For the time being, I really want to see you now." So, yeah, Rina, yeah.
You guys make me start tearing up again, goddamn. Because I was the one, I was the one who found out. I was like, oh, I need to tell everybody because this is just like I started crying. I was like, oh, I can't be alone with this. So I sent it to you, and then I sent it to Scott, and then I sent it to the Discord, the 5-star Discord. If you guys want to join that. And yeah, it was just
Yes.
it was a lot, man. And it's like it's so inconspicuous too, because it's like the post, like you said, the post was just her saying, "I beat Waka, I have the belt, I'm cool, this is awesome." And I took it like that. I was like, "Oh, that's cute, that's cool." And then I checked the quote retweets, and her mom, the Manami sister's mom, she tweets about her daughter's wrestling all the time, and that she tweeted like, "Oh, if you want to check out the alt text, I didn't know that there was stuff there, but there was stuff there," and that's basically what she said. And so like I, did like the copy paste, like the Google thing, and I copy pasted it into like a machine translator. I translated a few times to try to figure out like the best wording of it, and
Yes.
man. That rocked me on a Tuesday,
I
man.
mean, Rena will always have that connection to go back on. And I think seeing her after the match, she did have a very Hannah-esque energy to her. Like, she's just so, like, cool and carefree when she speaks, but she's so confident when she speaks. And she's just so clearly, like, somebody who gets it. And it's like, if her wrestling in ring can keep up with the star aura and the promos, like, you're looking at a future top champion in Rena. And yeah, she definitely will always have that connection, and they'll always be able to go back to that if they ever want to. But yeah, she obviously carries like the spirit of Hannah with her. And this wasn't our only Hannah thing this week, because and I kind of skipped over it because I'm the last person to do this sort of stuff. Like, I don't go, oh, that was for Hannah. Oh, they did this. That was a Hannah thing. But Julia, after her match in Impact, when she got up to the top of the stage, she very clearly like blew a kiss to the sky, and her hand was cut off. So I don't know if she was doing like the fist bump like she usually does. But to me, what Julia did there was also a Hannah thing, because like Hannah's idea was always to represent Stardom on a global stage and bring Joshi wrestling to the world. So Julia doing that on Impact clearly was like a, hey, we're doing this for you, like I did this for you kind of thing. So I thought that was another thing that I caught that Julia did that I thought was really nice, because yeah, like that was always Hannah's goal. So seeing Julia do just legitimately do it, bring Stardom to American television, was really nice. So yeah, we got a double whammy of Hannah stuff this week.
Yeah, it was. One other thing about this Rena match, or not the match, but the promo afterwards, she called everybody out to do the traditional New Blood exit, and you see Hanan get in the ring and like smiling and just like looking at her and like, you won, like she was so happy for her little sister, and Rena's like, don't touch me.
Yeah.
Like Rena's looking like, hey, we're not. No.
They're great.
And I thought that was so funny. Yeah, the Three Sisters. We'll talk about that in the next match we have to talk about. But the Three Sisters, I love them to death. I want the world for them.
They're great. But anyway, the next show to discuss them was on August 19th. This was Stardom Midsummer Festival 2023. This was in Ota Ward Gymnasium, and this had 1,653 fans. So the
Shinobu Kandori fan base will never die, baby.
I mean, this looked like it was going to bomb last week. There was 2 sections sold out entirely. But I mean, I never ruled out that there could be a walk-up, because I said from the beginning, I do not claim to understand the ticket buying habits of the person paying to see Shinobu Kandori in 2023. It is quite possible that there's just a lot of people who buy tickets on the day. And it appears that that's what happened, that they just got a lot of people buying on the day. Because, yeah, 1,600 is pretty solid for a Legends show. That's basically non-canon. Like, nothing really happened to progress much.
Yeah, there's no title match. There's no...
Yeah, so it succeeded. Rossi called it a great success in a tweet, so fair play. In the opener, I do not recall this match ever happening. Was this a dark? Oh, okay. Yeah, so Mei Seira beating Hanako and Fukigen Death in a 3-way, and yeah, that wasn't on the show.
Oh,
was it? Might be on Stardom World, but it wasn't on the.
No, it wasn't on the show. Right. I haven't checked Stardom World, but one other thing is Mirai was off the show because her grandmother passed away. So condolences to her. That's why Mei Seira wasn't in the Ida match.
Oh yeah,
and that's why Mirai was off the show.
Interesting.
So Yeah, that was a recent, because I was like, oh man, we messed up last week because they changed the card. That card change was like late
Right.
because Mirai had family stuff.
All right.
And yeah, condolences to her, obviously.
In the opening match then of card, we had the sisters reunited. We had Rina, Hina, and Hanan beating Yuna Mizumori, Waka Tsukiyama, and Lady C. Hanan got the win with 17. Um, do you understand why Hanan's theme is great now? Because I feel like seeing this entrance, you should go,
Kinda.
okay, yeah. But also, um, this was a canon event for you. The remix theme, as all three of them came out, was just this was for Dylan.
It
Very
felt
Dylan
good.
coded.
Also, this is the first time they have ever had a trios match on pay-per-view.
Wow, crazy.
So this was a big.
I suppose the
thing.
twins did split before they did pay-per-views, so
Yeah, exactly. I will say though, the match itself, Hanan getting her ass beat by Waka and like stealing the win.
well,
Don't know if I would
yeah.
have done that.
That's how it goes.
Because she didn't get any offense on Waka. I'm just like, what are we doing right now? What is this? Like, you can't even put her in there with like Yuna or even Lady C. Like Waka, really? Waka? That's the girl who she can't beat without a roll up. That was weird. Which I wouldn't say unless it was like legitimately like 80-20. And I was like, this is insane. What is happening right now? But yeah, I was just, it's nice. Like I said, it's funny because we've been watching it 5 years now. That this month is around the time I started watching Stardom. 5 years ago, I've like grown up with the Minami sisters, right? And it's like I feel like they're like my little sisters. And I know that sounds very parasocial, but like in the way that I'm just like, I'm just happy. I know I'm just saying it as the best way I can compare it, because I just feel happy for them when they succeed and when something cool happens, because it's just like, I don't know, it's a thing. But yeah, it was nice to see them team up for the first time pay-per-view. It was nice to see them win. They are now undefeated in trios matches on pay-per-view.
All right,
if you know that.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean the match itself was whatever.
The match after that then was Mariah May and Mina Shirakawa beating Megan Bayne and Tekla. Mariah May got the win for her team. It says with a shrimp hardening. I don't think she actually pinned her with a shrimp hardening. I assume
the shrimp hardening is just a pin.
Yeah. So that's great insight from the website. I guess technically you do win every match with a pin, but usually.
I think a shrimp hardening is technically if you hook the leg.
Oh,
I think that's technically what a shrimp hardening is.
I mean, I guess technically that is a maneuver. Anyway, this was like the best I've seen of Megan Bayne in Stardom so far. It felt like a lot more effort was put forth by everybody. Instead of just her running over people, it was, okay, here's how they're going to fight her off, which was a lot more interesting. Yeah. Also, Mina throwing leg kicks was great. And Mariah trying to start shit and then being like, oh, hell no, was also very funny. So I thought this was the best.
Tekla and Bayne have a cool look together.
Yes.
The entrance was really cool. And yeah, are we going to talk about the boob-related earthquake?
That was hilarious. I'm sorry. That was so funny. Really shaking the camera with it was peak. Like, you just
legendary camera work.
I think it was great because I think Mariah tweet later. I think was it Mina got beat up by somebody.
Mina got beat up by Gokuman
and Mariah was like, I would have saved you, but I was still recovering from the H-Cup earthquake. And I was like, that is so great.
And Mina's like, I understand. You had to take your rest.
So, that shook the foundations of the earth, and then they had a pretty good match, I thought. So, good, fair play.
Yeah, I thought this was... I agree with you that it's like this was one of the better uses of Megan Bayne, because it felt like she was like a part of the match and not... I don't know. I obviously had that criticism of her where it felt like she was just like a thing. Like she wasn't a character. She wasn't a wrestler. She was just like a thing that would kind of scare people. She was like a tornado. She was just like a thing that would scare people and make them move around her and whatever. Whereas this match, it felt like she kind of came alive more so than she has in the other matches I've seen of hers. So yeah, I definitely thought this was like a really good performance from her. Probably not better than the Tam match, because I think the Tam matches as a match was better. But it was a better showcase of Megan Bayne being a wrestler and not just a character trope of like, oh, I'm big and I will hurt you. It's like, no, it felt like she was like wrestling and people were like, they were wrestling a wrestling match and she was a character who was wrestling. it flowed well.
Yes.
I would say.
Definitely. The next match then on the show was Suzu Suzuki and Maika beating Ami Sourei and Saya Iida. Maika got the win with the Michinoku Driver 2 in just over 9 minutes when she pinned Saya Iida. And this is where we get into Saya Iida. Because she was fantastic in this match. Her and Maika were going at it, and it was really fun. Her and Ami Sourei are a great team. They worked really well together. Like, Saya Iida star of the show.
I love their machine gun
Saya
shots.
Iida star of the show. So I came away being like, I want Saya to team with Ami Sourei, but I also want Saya Iida to join Maika's group. So, because Maika seemed to really respect Saya
And I
Iida.
also want to keep her in Stardom.
Of course.
Stars.
So because Maika did show her a lot of respect after the match. Like, the way the match went, Saya was giving her everything to fend off Maika, who was also another power wrestler. And they were doing a lot of power wrestler spots. And Iida was just fighting against it the entire time and really, like, earned the respect of Maika to the point that it was like, it almost looked like Maika was going to invite her to join her side. And this kind of is an interesting thing, because I think Saya won the weekend because she comes out of this as one of the more interesting people in the company, which is crazy because she's not in the GP.
Yeah.
But,
and I really like that they had Maika.
Of course. Yeah.
Because I feel like I've talked about it a lot because I'm a lore guy when it comes to some of these things. Obviously Iida is like the black sheep of the Golden Generation. You know, like she was, you know, audibly upset that she was left out of the generational struggle because she was like one of the original generation, you know, like she was one of the original generational wrestlers. It was her, Utami, and Maika, and Saya, and then Himeka, and you know, like that was what it was built on, was the Kagetsu trained wrestlers, was those three. And so she's been obviously very audibly upset, and her and Maika have always kind of had that grudge where it's like, you know, Iida beat Maika for the future belt. Like, people forget that. Like, she took the belt from her. That was the thing that happened. And they were always meant to be on the same level, but Saya's just kind of fallen. And Maika's said that. She's like, I want you to be on the same level as me again. Like, get up here. What are you doing? And I think it's great that they didn't, you know, after the passion injection match, they didn't just have her lose to Suzu, you know, and just, you know, because fuck Iida. Like, because that's what they do usually. Is, you know, it's like, who cares? Fuck Iida, she loses. It felt like this was something.
Yeah.
And that's great. And I love it. There's really something there.
Yeah, like, there's a lot of avenues you can go with Iida out of this. Like, between this and the Nanai stuff, I mean, that post-match with the Nanai and the crowd chanting her name, and then this spirited effort, it's like, you could have Saya join Maika's group if Maika's group ever becomes a thing. She has avenues. I would have her go to God's Eye tomorrow to team with Ami Sourei full time. She's just in a really interesting spot where it feels like she's getting this groundswell of support right now. And the thing with Iida is, she was always, everybody has always acknowledged her talent. It was usually the charisma that people were like, well, it's not really there. I feel like I've never seen somebody grow charisma like I've seen Saya Iida, because even though she's small, I think she's made a lot of good choices that help her really still jump off the page. The muscles being one. I mean, big muscles are very easy.
Yeah, I mean, that's the obvious one. Like,
the
look
vibrant,
at her. Like,
the vibrant colors, the vibrant hair. I think she's really grown into her muscly body as well. I think she's a lot more of a full package than she was. And, like, to me, with how she's being right now, with how the crowd is getting behind her, and with how she keeps growing, I'm like, I would do something coming out of this. Like, if she doesn't take that Nanai promo and turn it into a title win, I would be very disappointed. And she's somebody who, if I was running things, she'd be like in the conversation for the white belt now, because I think she could conceivably win the white belt as a short-term reign. But I don't think she looks outside of that, because I think she really has grown as a full package wrestler to, like, from just somebody who is a good seller and will get her ass beat to, this is somebody who really jumps out. So I'm all in on Saya Iida, because I think she's improved in every aspect, and she's made a concerted effort to improve her aesthetic and her overall look. despite her small stature. So I would reward that. But yeah, like the Nanai thing has to be followed up on, really.
I think Ida is the perfect like proof that it would be great if Stardom introduced a mid card championship,
Yeah.
like a true mid card championship. Because like as much as I would love for Ida to win the white belt, like I don't have that confidence whatsoever in Rossi being like, yeah, let's put the sometimes main event belt on her. You know what I mean? Like
She would
obviously
be
it's
like
not,
a V1, V2. I don't see why you
oh,
can't,
100%.
you know.
I mean, she would be Mina-esque.
Yeah.
Definitely. But like I think my thing is that it's like, oh, there's such a room for someone, for the Idas and the Teklas and the people who like either just didn't make it or are in the five. Like even we're not big Ami Sourei fans around here, but even an Ami Sourei, like where does she go now? Because she's not a white belt, red belt wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
But if there was like a belt that was like third and wasn't high speed, yeah, I could see Ami Sourei holding that. Like I don't really care. Like that'd be fine. Like they're like I just think Ida is one of those people that's like a perfect candidate for being like the greatest number 3 champion of all time type of thing.
Yeah.
But that with that being said, I would love it if coming out of the 5-star in a tag team match, Ida gets an Itabashi on Mirai and sets up that title match, because even if she loses, I think that's like where we need to be. Is Ida challenging for her first white belt match, because she will lose that. It's against Mirai. Like that's fine, but she can use that, and that is a match that you know she's gonna deliver in. Like it's very hard to get Mirai and Saya Ida to not work well together.
Yeah.
So I think that's a match that you need to be building towards right now. Yeah, I mean, obviously I'm a big Ida fan. There's one thing, and this is like a move thing. She started doing like a lariat to the leg to set up her sliding lariat.
Mm-hmm.
If she just changes that into a chop block, she'll be the greatest wrestler ever.
Of course.
Like the Jey Uso chop block back in the day, where it's like it would just be a match, and then he's like, okay, now I'm gonna fuck up your leg, bro. it's over. Yeah, I think that if she just did like a chop block, just a little shit, 'cause she's small, she could do that. I think that would be like perfect to like elevate her ring work, because it's like it adds a layer to it. Anytime that somebody can add a conceivable limb work thing to their stuff and don't have to rely on it is good, in my opinion. So if she is, just go for that chop block, just really kill him with it. You know what I mean? That's what I'm rocking with.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've always been on the Saya train, obviously. But we here. I'm hoping.
Also, Ami and Ida for tag belts. Let's get it.
Yeah, they're really good.
So after that, then we had Mayu Iwatani and Koguma beating Saki Kashima and Syuri. Mayu got the win in 9.5 minutes with a Dragon Sleeper. This is probably the most forgettable match of the show. I won't lie to you. Aside from the Saki.
Oh, she won with
hijinks.
the Chibi Killer.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty forgettable aside from Saya or Saki doing a fucking paid sponsorship throughout the match and beating people with a pad.
Mayu's good at wrestling.
Yeah. Mayu's cool. After
it
that,
reminded me that Mayu Syuri is going to be good, because there was only like a little bit of that, but I was like, oh yeah, that's a match that still hasn't happened yet.
After that, then we had the Legends portion of the show. So they, I thought they did this really well. They had the videos that like introduced them, and obviously they couldn't get footage of Dump in her prime, so they had like dead AJW footage to just see for Nanai. They had her winning the 3-way belt in front of like 50 people, and it was like, man, she wrestled in front of some big crowds, and then in like '98, you could have got some of that, but yeah, they showed clips of like the wrestlers and was like, hey, here's why they're important. And then they got all the music, which I think is really cool. Like Dump entering to that Atrocious Alliance theme, and Oedo Tai coming out to that Atrocious Alliance theme.
With the shirts.
That was great. I mean, people
great.
don't understand. Like, there is no Crush Gals without Dump and the Atrocious Alliance. Like that. Mm-hmm. Like, there is a Crush Gals in a sense. Like, they would have got over. But they are not the Crush Gals without Dump and the Atrocious Alliance. So any kind of throwback to watching Dump come out to the ring to bludgeon Nagayo and with a crowd going crazy. Like I'm all for it. So I thought that was really really nice was just the whole crew coming out to that atrocious alliance theme. Kyoko got her theme, and Kyoko's theme's always been a banger. I won't lie to you. That's like the best thing about Kyoko. It is so high energy.
Kyoko hit the pose too.
She did.
She hit the pose. The Queen, like they don't even do that themselves anymore, and they all hit the Queen's Quest pose. That was
great.
One note is Dump Matsumoto being seconded by Kaori Oniyama dressed as an evil clown in 2023. That's just a thing that happened this past weekend. It's just thought I'd mention that. Yeah. How did you feel?
I mean, I enjoyed it for what it was. I think it's neat seeing Dump do her thing.
I think Kyoko was the worst part of it, which is not surprising.
Well, yeah.
I just felt like she felt miscast. Because like I feel like you could have gotten like a really great babyface wrestler, legendary babyface wrestler in there. Even if you can't get Chigusa, like I feel like there's still, I don't know, they could have found somebody. That I just don't think Kyoko was great for this role specifically. But yeah, I thought it was like I found it fun. Like I didn't think it was like a great anything, but I found some of the stuff fun, and like I love that Dump just didn't stand on the apron.
Yeah,
I was just like, nah, I'm just gonna wait in the corner for one of you guys to go for a pin, and I'm gonna hit you with a stick. Cool. I was like, go for it, homegirl. That's all you. I thought Zap did way better than I was expecting.
Dude, who is this mystery woman?
Like, legit, I was so confused. I was like, she's better than modern Tomoko Watanabe, and she's a lot better than modern Kaoru Ito.
Yeah.
So who is she? And like, I think people are like assuming it's Watanabe because she's been tweeting about it a bit. But I'm just like, why doesn't she wrestle like this in Marvelous? Like, what's happening? If this is Tomoko, what the fuck's happening right now? Because like she was like she hit a like jumping leg drop that was like she got height on it, and I was like, how old are you? Because your knees shouldn't work like that if you're if you're a Zap. Let's be real. Yeah, I thought that the Oedo Tai side of things was great. I thought it was really fun. I thought it was like just, it was bullshit, but that was the point. Like that's kind of the beauty of it in a way. But yeah, I thought Kyoko was kind of like, oh man, you could have probably gotten a better babyface over there.
Yeah, but it is what it is. Tora getting the pin was the obvious part. And that was like the good thing. But I mean, I think there's something.
Double Mist was.
Oh yeah, that was good. But I just think there's something neat to seeing Dump just do her thing in front of 1,600 people. I'm all for giving legends like her flowers because, I'll say it a lot. She's like the best heel wrestling has ever had. She, like the business she did was absurd. They would take an entire episode to break down her impact. But so I'm all for seeing her do stuff, and I thought Oedo Tai kind of fit her vibe really well.
Yeah.
So
totally.
I mean, I enjoyed it for what it was. It obviously wasn't like a good match. I wouldn't say that to anybody, but if you like Dump, you're gonna have fun. She whacked people with a stick. That's kind of what you're here for.
There's definitely a novelty to it that like it didn't fail, right? It wasn't great, but it didn't fail in what it was trying to do.
Yeah. Well, I feel like none of the Legends matches did. Like they
No, not at all. Not at all. They were all quite good, in fact.
Oh.
Even if they weren't great matches, they were like good at what they were meant to be.
Well, yeah, I guess. Like, I mean, you're not really expecting Shinobu Kandori Super Worker, but you're expecting Shinobu Kandori to get a pop for doing her bits. Speaking of Shinobu Kandori,
see, this is where we're going.
Syuri Anu, Natsupoi, and Tam Nakano beat Takako Inoue, Shinobu Kandori, and Hazuki in 16 minutes when Natsupoi pinned Hazuki with the fairy magic. I'm
going to live up to the predictable allegations. This was my favorite match of the night.
Yeah, I'd probably
fun.
agree.
I was just like having so much fun with this. I was just like, oh, like, just go on.
I'm a big Takako fan. So her her
I
just
love
being
Takako,
Takako, like a horrible person, was great. Like when she did the tombstone where she like knees them in the face as she carries them, was doing big boots. I was into it. Thought the Tam and Kandori exchanges were so good. Like Tam staring down one of the baddest women in Joshi history and slapping her around. Like this is the beast. This was beast. Like that was so great to see Tam square up to somebody like Kandori. Um,
Kandori had such a aura,
oh
bro.
yeah, I mean that's Kandori.
Like, Mr. Joshi Wrestling came in here and was just like I was just in love with everything.
And that was about this match. That's the thing with Kandori. Of everybody from the like 90s kind of super promotional era or cross promotional era, she was always the one that would like translate best, because even in the 90s her entire appeal was, this is the baddest woman on the planet and she will tap you out and punch you in the face. Like that was her thing.
Yeah,
she can do that now. She can still do that. She was like locking in the submissions and then was like, haha, I'm going to get you though. I'm going to get you. And that was Kandori.
And also, they were bumping.
That too.
Like Kandori was bumping more than I've seen her bump in the past 20 years.
For Toyota in
like,
98.
For real.
She did not bump like this
in that's
a
what I mean.
3-way championship match in 1998.
Like she was in this. Like that's one thing that is like I wasn't expecting for this match, because like I've said, I've seen Shinobu Kandori wrestle in the past 20 years. You know, I've watched her matches before, and a lot of them are very much just her being like, "Fuck you, I do not care. I'm just gonna hurt you, and then I'm gonna win, and then I'm gonna leave, and that's all we're gonna do." She was like putting a lot of effort into this match. And I think part of that is probably that I hear that they're promoting another LLPWX show pretty soon, which they only do a couple times a year at most. I don't think they've done it in like a while now. So that's probably part of it, is that it's like part of its promotion, part of it might be a Tam feud that we'll talk about in a minute. That might, I don't know. But yeah, she was like putting a lot of effort in, as was Takako, and Hazuki's obviously like, she was the glue. Her and Natsupoi were like the glue of this match, because at certain points they would just be like, okay, Natsupoi, Hazuki, get in there and just kill it for a minute and a half so that the legends can take a breath and then get back in and do the cool stuff. And like it was perfect in that way. They knew exactly what they needed to do here, and so much of it was super fun. I will say, you mentioned it briefly, but that spot where Tam was like squaring up with Kandori, and then Kandori is like, okay, this is what we're doing, okay, and then she like hits her and gets the Fujiwara in, and then just stands up and is like, yeah, I can do that. And like the crowd popped, I popped in my chair. I was like, "Oh, that was so fucking cool!"
I didn't say that, man. Though. And Kandori was over. she got the biggest reactions on the show.
Yeah. No, that's what I mean. Is that you mentioned that? You mentioned, like, I wasn't saying that.
No, I'm just saying I'd forgot to say it.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah, she was like, I was making jokes before I saw this. You know, like the Kandori fan base will never die. You know, like that stuff was all mostly jokes. Because, like, I love Shinobu Kandori. I think she's one of the greatest of all time. But I didn't expect her to be the most popular wrestler on the entire card. But she was. And it was awesome.
Between her and Dump,
I loved it. This match
Dump
was
got
phenomenal.
Dump got some good reactions.
It's
nice. But yeah, no, Kandori really, she translates really well. And she had her working boots on. Her and Tam seem to be trying to set up a red belt match. I don't know if that's going to happen. But if it did,
it would be incredibly hard.
Yes, she does not like losing. Mr. Joshi Wrestling has never liked losing.
She hasn't lost a singles match in 20 years.
That's
and it was against Kyoko Inoue.
Yeah.
And before that, it was another like 8 years, and it was Harley Saito. So you know what I mean? Like let's call it.
Yeah, she only put over Yumiko Hoda that one time because she got to beat Yumiko Hoda and be a double champion. You know, like that's Kandori. But yeah, no, she was really rocking with it, and it was great to see her kind of roll back the years a little bit. And I think this did a lot for Tam. Like people often talk about legends like boosting up the wrestlers they work with. And I think a lot of the time it's nonsense. Like I think a lot of the time the legend eats the person alive, like Ozaki and Mio.
Yeah.
I don't think that did what this did. I think Ozaki just ate Mio Momono alive. I think that was about Ozaki. I think Aja Kong is a genius, and she always makes it about the other person. Like Aja Kong and Yuki Arai earlier this year, perfect, right? Like Aja did so much for Yuki Arai in that match without losing. I think this was a very Aja Kong like performance from Kandori.
I mean, people still talk about how Mirai's first big moment in professional wrestling was her lariating Aja Kong. Like that was like still
like Aja has perfectly transitioned to being like this really smart person who will elevate her opponents without losing, because that's a genuine thing. Like I think you can lose up. I think losing up is a very normal thing. Like Ida did it with Nanai. She lost up, and I think Tam, even though she won, but like neither of them was involved in the pin. I think Kandori really helped make Tam look so much more badass than I've ever seen her, because Tam just got to go in there and square up with one of the toughest women in Joshi, and she didn't back down, and she didn't get beaten around either like Mio did. Like Kandori didn't go, okay, you got yours in, now it's time for me to beat you up for like 90% of the match. It was, you're gonna beat me up, I'm gonna play my hits, and then we separate. But you look good, the crowd gets to react, perfect. It's just really well done from Kandori here to help make Tam look really, really good.
Totally.
And yeah, Tam just, I think she was great in it. Just, she's always been good when she just hits people. And all you have to do with a legend is just hit them. And she did it. So yeah, I thought this was probably the best match of the show too. I thought everybody did play their role to perfection. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing more of Kandori in Stardom. If this is the Kandori we're getting.
Me neither.
I won't complain if she's motivated.
Yeah, I mean, she like I said, she really impressed me, and like I've said, I think she's one of like a top 20 best wrestler of all time, period. And she impressed me in that I was like, oh shit, she's like and beyond that, there were a couple things I wanted to know about this match. Is that Takako and Anu in Craze? That's how dope it was. Is that I just put two words together that don't make sense. Crazy together, like just the vibe. They both, like, you can tell that Anu is just kind of like, she has the vibe that Takako had, right? And Takako kind of recognized that, and that's why they kind of met, and they really had like something cool there that I really liked. And then, like I always say, I mean, Hazuki is just phenomenal. She took the Kozen triad, where Anu hits the missile drop kick, and then Tam hits the Destiny Hammer, and then Natsupoi hits the Burial Gift. Beautifully. Like, that move was perfect. In fact, there was one specific. She took the Destiny Hammer, but she had her move is comic. So she took it, and it looked like her neck broke the way she just like twisted out of it.
Oh, God.
And I was like, oh my God, she's so good at this. But yeah, oh fuck it.
You all right there?
Yeah. Of course, when I get excited about something. Of course.
Well, that was your internet telling us to hurry up.
I thought Hazuki sold
because we do have we still have the main event to go. So we'll move on from there to say that we both enjoyed what we got from that match. The main event then was Momoe Nakanishi, Nanae Takahashi, and Jaguar Yokota beating Yu, Momo Watanabe, and Starlight Kid when Momoe Nakanishi pinned Starlight Kid with the with a Nanamomo driver in 27 minutes.
The T gimmick.
So I mean, this was a good match. I think it was a bit long in the tooth, but I think Momoe Nakanishi balling was so enough for everybody to be into it, because Momoe can still go. If you've never seen Prime Momoe Nakanishi, she's the prototype for like everybody you think is cool. She's the prototype for Azumi, for Taiyo, for all of them. Momoe was the one, and she was amazing in her prime, and she's still amazing now. She was just busting shit out, and it was great. Yeah, the people were really into those three. I didn't realize like there was a lot of Nanamomo fans, even though that team existed like when AJW was on its deathbed, really. Okay, that's a bit of an exaggeration, but they were pushed when it was
Yeah.
on his deathbed. Like,
I mean, it was 2000.
well, like
Yeah,
they were
that's
together in '98,
when
but it was only like
they
the
were like
2000s when they were
problem.
pushed. So yeah, I think that was the main thing. But yeah, they were pretty popular. Jaguar was kind of popular. She was probably the most muted of the bunch, which kind of makes sense because her peak came like before Nagayo. So you're asking like a lot of people to really know her, but it was nice to see her get this spotlight regardless. Um, yeah, it was a
Yeah,
solid enough match. I think it went a bit long, but it had its good bits.
it was very, very long.
27 minutes, you know?
I think if there were one more person on each side,
Yeah.
because these wrestlers right now, like not Momoe. Okay, we're back down. Cool. Yeah, not Momoe, but I was just like, oh, damn, we're still on.
This is great. I mean, it's nice that his internet only went like at the end of the show, when we're about to preview the stuff. So, are you even there? All right. Well, I'm just gonna move on because I cannot hear Dylan anymore. But that was the Legends show. I can hear him laughing, which is the worst part. I can't hear him talking, but I can hear his laugh. But anyway, Stardom Midsummer Festival, fun show. If they want to do the Legends stuff again, call up Kandori. Let's do Kandori and Tam. First show.
Okay,
Oh,
one more
hello.
thing. My internet just came back, kind of. Am I
Yeah,
here? Hello? Is this
go ahead.
okay? Are we? One other thing is I didn't know, and I don't think anybody knew that the head commentator for Stardom is Momoe Nakano. He was a UWFI guy.
Yeah. Whoa.
Every time Momoe would do a spot, I know this is getting kind of bad.
Yes. Keep going. And now you're gone. Of course you're gone now. Anyway, yeah, he was losing his shit.
Every time,
Oh, this is great. Are you back? Are you with us? Okay,
back currently.
kind of.
But yeah, he every time they would pan to him, and he would just be like, "What's happening right now?"
Yeah.
It was funny.
All right. So we'll preview these shows before you just go entirely. So the first one to preview is on August 26th. This is in
we have
Nagoya.
we have to talk about.
No.
There was the show that happened yesterday. There was a show that happened yesterday.
Shit. All right, August 20th. This show isn't up yet. Yeah. So this did 378 fans in the Kiramese Numazu. The GP matches were Hazuki beating Ami Sourei in 14 minutes for the Brainbuster. That is Hazuki's first win of the tournament, if you can believe it. And then Natsuko Tora beat Mayu Iwatani to move up to 8 points with a Swanton Bomb. So Natsuko is on the verge of winning the entire thing.
Did not expect that one.
No, I was surprised. But yeah.
I felt like that was. I guess she just loses to Tam, unfortunately.
I'll have to throw that in. So I think there's Stardom representation on a Diana show this weekend. Waka Tsukiyama is wrestling in the show. I don't know if she has a match. Doesn't say it on the schedule. But we have 2 shows to preview. First of which is on August 26th in Nagoya. This show seems to be selling well. Could even be a sellout based on what I'm seeing here. And we have some interesting stuff. If the page would scroll down, that would be very pleasant. Please, hello, scroll. All right, we have there's some cool undercard matches. There's some cool undercard matches. There's a Natsupoi Syuri standoff there. Araya opposite Lady C. Megan Bain opposite Mayu Iwatani. That should be fun. Then we get Utami Hayashishita versus Maika in the Blue Stars block. That is a good one. I guess Utami's lost once, right? I don't know why
Yeah,
I'm
just
asking Dylan when he's probably gonna like fall out of the thing at any moment. But
Yeah, she's lost one match.
yeah. See,
She was
he's
against Suzumi.
okay. So Micah is 1-1-1. So yeah, she should probably win. Can Micah win?
Michael win.
Okay,
Michael.
good. The next match then is Julia versus Mirai in the Blue Stars block. That is a good one. Holy shit.
Yep.
So, Julia is on 5 points. She is 2-1-1, and Mirai is 2-2-0. So, interesting. I mean, either of them? I guess it's a coin toss, really. Maybe Julia.
I'd probably say
Okay. Well, I said Julia, so I don't know.
it's funny. Yeah. Julia's typically beaten the white belt
Yeah,
champion.
but I feel like Mirai has other losable matches. Maybe set stuff up.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, probably Mariah over Julia.
yeah.
I would say.
Well, no, I think Julia over Mirai. But anyway, the main event then is a Red Stars block match: Tam Nakano versus Natsuko Tora. Tam almost has to win because if Tora gets more points, she's basically going to win the block. So yeah. All right. And then we have another.
Plus, it's her and Natsupoi.
Oh yeah.
That's Natsuko's second to last
Oh,
match.
all right.
So if it's left up to them, right, that's not a good thing. So they need to lose some matches before then.
All right.
Because they're both getting a bit too high.
Yes. So the next show then is 27th of August. It is in Fukui Kirameki in a token in Suruga City. Let's see. There's some stuff on the undercard. Is there anything good? Was the Tam and Mirai tag square off? Megan Bain opposite Utami. Then there is a Micah, Julia, and Tekla versus Stars trio.
Oh, that's.
And then we get into Blue Stars block action. Mariah May versus Momo Watanabe. So Momo is unbeaten in the tournament so far. So do we suspect Mariah gives her first loss?
Yes.
Okay. All right. We then have Siri Anu.
It's a good upset. Oh, it's Agir from here.
Yes, yes. So then we have Siri Anu versus Hanan, and I think Siri Anu is going to keep winning to so she does finish on about 10 points.
Yeah.
Yes. The match after that is Ami Sourei versus Starlight Kid in the Red Stars block. There's no table on this page, so I don't know where either is at. I think Ami is on 2 points, and Kid might also be on 2 points. So, shoot, I don't know. Ami wins.
Ami's only at
See, you're gone now.
2 because of stats.
Oh yeah.
Of course I'm gone. Maybe. I don't know. This is bad. This is really bad.
It is. That's why I'm trying to finish.
Either of them can. I don't care. I'm not.
All right.
That might be watching.
Okie dokes.
I'll watch
The
it.
next match
I'll watch
then is Natsupoi versus Natsuko Tora in a Red Stars block match. I believe both have 8 points already. So they are way out in front. I can see this going to a draw, so that they neither is runaway at the top, but also if one of them wants to go through, they would have that 1 point edge over everybody on 10.
I think Natsuko wins this. Because Natsuko has no more matches after this.
Oh really?
Outside of Suzuki.
Oh.
Yeah.
See, that's why I think she might do a draw. I think 10 points might be enough to win the block. So have her go to 9. So then
everybody has at least 2.
Yeah. So
that would.
Everything's been so even.
Meaning you only have to.
Yes, and that's proven to be difficult. So
yeah.
I think this could go to a draw. So then if they want Tora to go through, she can win and finish 1 point ahead of the rest. But I don't know. Maybe.
I think Natsuko wins this, and then she is the mark to beat until the final day.
Well, That would make sense. That is that. Dylan's internet is not doing well, so I will just close the show. If you want to stand, you may stand. If you want to sit, you may sit. Believe today, shine tomorrow. You decide what you believe in. Ijo. Can't even join the Ijo. Oh, there he is. Hey.
Yay!